Well, foreign ministers from G7 nations are meeting here in Liverpool for 3 days in total to discuss a number of issues across the geopolitical spectrum, but also, of course, the health crisis that is still an issue around the world, which is the coronavirus pandemic. They're going to be discussing how to cope with the emergence of the Omicron variant of COVID-19. They're also going to be discussing pandemic preparedness, how something like this may be prevented in the future. And there's also the issue of vaccine sharing. That's going to be on the table as well. We know that developing nations have been asking developed nations to offer up more vaccines to them to help them suppress the virus within their nations. And South Africa in particular has been very vocal in calling for G7 leaders to do even more in that respect. So we'll see what happens here over the next couple of days on that. When it comes to geopolitics, they're going to be discussing the Russia-Ukraine border, the tensions there that are building with the increase in the number of Russian troops there. It's thought that there may be some sanctions potentially considered to be placed on Russia should tensions escalate, but there's not really detail on what that might mean. Then there's also Afghanistan, of course, the situation there and how things are developing since NATO troops pulled out and the Taliban took over in Kabul. There's been reports of women and children having many of their rights suppressed since that shift in country, and that issue, as well as gender-related violence in conflict, is one of the big priorities for the UK Minister Liz Truss. She's going to be pushing for nations to do more. Of course, the UK military has been in Africa, across the continent, in many countries via the British Peace Support Team, training militaries to recognise situations where women and children might be in a vulnerable situation and teaching them how to remove them from those situations safely. So there is a lot for ministers to discuss here over the next 2 days. Not that much time to do it in. Laura Makin-Isherwood, SABC News, Liverpool.